We've all heard the phrase, dogs are a man's best friend. Even as the most common household pet in the U.S., domesticated dogs, or Canis familiaris, have been largely under-researched. In an attempt to better understand how dogs interact, we observed a variety of encounters over the course of 1 week. Our group collected data in the morning before 9 a.m. and evening around 4 to 6 p.m. at Bandy Park near the University of Richmond to survey dog behavior. In total, there were 30 different interactions that were suitable for analysis. Ultimately, we observed a correlation between posture during the dog's initial greeting and the type of interaction that followed. We hypothesized that dogs that approached each other with equal posture tended to continue into what we have learned to call fair play, and interactions of dogs with high or low posture would tend to continue with actions that exhibited a clear power dynamic, such as mounting or wrestling. To make our first distinction, the posture of the dogs was observed. Low posture was marked when the dog who started the interaction stood at a level closer to the ground than the one they approached. Usually, low posture is associated with low status, fear, and anxiety. Dogs exhibiting low posture are showing submission or timidness towards other dogs. Equal posture can be described as when the two interacting dogs stood at the same level, regardless of the dog's individual heights. This stance indicates mutual respect between the dogs and is shown in this clip. The third category, high posture, was recorded when the dog initiating the approach stood taller than the other. This often indicated higher status and more confidence, but could sometimes be attributed to over-arousal. There were two major types of interactions that we observed and recorded: fair play and a power dynamic play. In his article, Playful Fun in Dogs, author Mark Bekoff explains the 4 aspects of fair or social play. In simple terms, he says that the dogs must ask first, be honest, follow the rules, and admit when they're wrong. Basically, a dog must use various actions such as play bow to indicate to the other dog that they want to play. Being honest means that they should only use play bow if they actually want to play. By following the rules, dogs must avoid trying to mate or dominate the other dog. Lastly, admitting you're wrong means that the dogs must immediately show that they're sorry if they take the play too far. Although Bekoff tended to focus his research around the play bow, we also looked at interaction that ended in chase or run or leap. We hypothesized that dogs who engaged in these 3 types of fair play were less focused on a power dynamic and therefore more likely to have exhibited equal posture when first greeting the other dog. The second type of play was more aggressive and demonstrated a power dynamic. The aggressive behaviors that we observed were mounting and wrestling. These types of interactions typically led to growling or biting, indicating a physical altercation that could result in a power dynamic. We found that dogs engage in this behavior when trying to establish dominance. Across the 30 actions we observed, we found that 20.7% of interactions initiated with low posture, 48.3% with equal posture, and 31% with high posture. This baseline analysis demonstrates a range of greeting postures that we observed. 21 interactions continued into chase, a subgroup of fair play. 28.6% of them started with low posture, 43% started with equal posture, and 28.6% started with high posture. This data supports our hypothesis because the more of the dogs that began their greetings with the friendlier posture ended up in fair play. In looking at the approaches that led to play bow, there were only 8.3% of interactions that began with low posture, 33.3% began with high posture, and almost 60% occurrence of equal posture approaches to start the interactions. Again, this same pattern was observed in dogs that ran or leaped. 16.7% of the interactions that continued into a run or leap started with low posture, and 33.3% started with high posture. The rest of the dogs that ran or leapt, 50% of them began their greetings with equal posture. In conclusion, the data we collected was consistent with our initial hypothesis. Dogs that approached each other with equal posture tended to continue into fair play at much higher rates than dogs that approached each other with low or high posture. A few confounding variables were present in our data that were difficult to account for. Whether or not the dogs had known each other prior to our observation may have impacted the characteristics of their interactions. However, because we did not ask all of the dog owners, we were unable to account for any previous relationship that they might have had. We also obtained the ages and genders of only some dogs, which could have influenced their activity and energy level, therefore changing the type of behavior the dogs exhibited. Considering these factors, we thought it might be interesting to continue this study by examining the relationship between age and the initial interactions that dogs have with each other. We wondered if dogs may be able to gauge the age of another dog and change their greetings accordingly. Would dogs sniff the snout of an older dog instead of their butt to demonstrate a basic level of respect, or do the interactions simply boil down to the personality of each individual dog?